So hello everyone, welcome to eMobility System Lab. In today's video, we will discuss about one of the most important concept in C programming, that is local and global variable. Okay, and let's see what is the difference between local and global variable. So first of all, we would understand what is local variable, and we will also see the important points related to the local and global variables. So first of all, local variables are declared inside a function. Okay, and these local variables are accessible within that function only. Okay, so here you can see the local variables are accessible only within that functions, and local variables are created when the function starts. Okay, so we will see all these things with an example now. Okay, but first of all, we would understand the basic fundamentals related to the local variables. So here you are able to see where the local variables are created. So local variables are created inside the function. Okay, so you need to remember this: the local variables are created inside the functions. Okay, and accessible within that function where these local variables have been created. And when these local variables are created, when you will when the function starts. Okay, so these are three basic important points. Now we will move further points related to the local variables. Okay, now we see when local variables get destroyed. Okay, so local variables get destroyed when the function ends. Okay, so local variables get destroyed when function ends. So let's see other thing related to the local variables, where these local variables get stored. So basically, these local variables get stored in stack memory. So in previous video, we discussed about the memory management. Okay, so we discussed the important segments of memory management. So if you guys have any doubt, what is the stack memory, what is the memory management? So I would request you to see the previous class related to the memory management, and that video you can check in. You can check out in playlist of C programming. Okay, so so local variable will store in stack memory. So this is the part of memory segment. Okay. So basically these are five important points of local variable. So first, local variable declared inside the function. First, we are talking about the declaration of the local variable, and accessible within that function, and created when function starts, and the local variables get destroyed when function ends. And last, we discussed the local variable is stored in stack memory. Now we see an example. Okay, we see a code basically. So here you are able to see this library that we have included. So it is standard input output library. And now here we have created one function. Okay, so we have created one function display, and inside the function we are taking a variable. So this variable has been created inside this function. So this is called, that is why this variable is called local variable, because it is being created inside the function. Okay, and in the int main function you are calling this display function. So when it comes to the calling of user defined functions, so the user defined functions can be called from int main. Okay, so here you are calling this display functions. Okay, so this local variable you can access when you are calling this complete function. Okay, and basically this local variable cannot be accessed from the main. If you want to access it directly from the main, you cannot access it. Okay, so this is the drawback of local variable, and I hope you would understand this. Okay, now we will discuss about the global variable. So this is also a very important part of variable, and I think we should know about the local and global variable both. So first of all, where these global variables are declared. Okay, so basically in the case of local variables, the local variables were declared, were getting declared inside the function. Now these global variables will be declared outside the function. outside all the functions. Okay, so let's see. So this is declared outside all the functions and accessible from all the functions. So all the functions in the code. So suppose this is your complete code, and here this code has been divided into multiple functions. Okay, so and this area, basically you will see this area. So this is the global area. Okay, so the global variable will be declared here. So global variable will be declared. So that is why the other functions, like these function blocks, can access the data which is stored in global variable. Okay. So basically, if we talk about the scope of this global variable, the scope of this global variable is throughout the program, throughout the. Okay. And let's see. So these global variables created before main function starts. This is an important point. And this global variable destroy when program ends. So we understood the scope of this global variable. So basically, the scope of global variable is throughout the function, throughout the program. Okay. So when program start running, then global variables will be creating, and when the program will end, the global variables will be destroyed. Okay. So the global variable will occupy the memory throughout the program execution. And other point where these global variables are stored, these global variables are stored in data segment. In data segment. Okay. So this is also the section of memory management. Okay. And basically, this is related. This data segment is related to uh, global and global and static memory. Okay. So basically, we discussed the important point related to the global variables. Okay, we discussed about the declaration of the global variables. We discussed about the accessibility of global variables. Okay, and we also discussed about when these global variables are created, when these global variables are being destroyed, and where these are stored. Okay, so these were important points related to the local and global variables. Now we will see some examples related to the global variable. Okay, so basically we will see a program related to the global variable. Let's see. First of all, I will erase all this stuff. Okay. Okay, so here you are able to see. Okay, like this is one program. Okay, this is one program, and here in the starting of program we have added one library, that is standard input output library, and after that we have taken a variable. Okay, int is data type, age is identifier. Okay, so basically it is a variable, age is variable, and it is taking integer type data. Okay, so this variable is a global variable. Okay, this is not local variable, and here you are able to see one function. So this function can access this variable. Okay, or this function can access the data has been stored inside this global variable. So when you will call, okay, and a part of it, here you are also able to see like this printf functions. This main function is also able to access the data of global variable. So these two functions are accessing the data of global variable. Okay, so we understood. So all the functions can access the data of global variable. Okay, so when you will call this function, you will get 25, and you can also use this function, this inbuilt function, and you can get this 25. But this case was not with local variable. In case of local variable, all the functions were not able to access. the local variable value. But in this case, you are able to access the data of global variable. So from this example, this program, you can easily understand what is a difference between local and global variable. Okay, so I would request you to practice this program related to the local and global variable, and I would erase this one. Okay, now so we see the both function, like both function main and display can access the data of each. So guys, now we will see the comparison between local and global variable. So what is the comparison between local and global variable? We would understand. Okay, so see, this is local variable and this is global variable. So first comparison, the local variable declared inside a function, and this global variable will be declared outside the function. So this is one difference. Now we will see other difference and scope. So basically, the scope of local variable is limited. Okay, so the scope of local variable will be limited to that particular function where it has been created. But the scope of global variable will be throughout the program. Okay, throughout the entire program, throughout the entire program. So now see, we what is third difference between? So third difference is local variable is stored in stack memory, but this global variable is stored in data segment. Okay, and fourth difference is lifetime. Okay, let's see, lifetime. Okay, the lifetime of local variable ends with the function. Okay, so when the function will end, the lifetime, local variable will be destroyed. Okay, so when local variable created, actually when function starts, and the local variable get destroyed when function ends. So basically the lifetime of local variable will depend on the lifetime of function, depend on lifetime of function. And here the lifetime of global variable will depend on the lifetime of entire program. Okay, lifetime of global variable will depend the lifetime of entire program. So when the entire program will terminate, the global variable will be destroyed. Okay, so basically these were important difference between local and global variable. Okay, so I hope you would understand this. So let's say I would erase this one now. Okay. So here you are able to see the difference actually. So this is first difference is inside the function, declared inside the function, and global variable declared outside the function. Scope, we discussed the scope. So scope is limited to one function, but here the scope is limited to entire program. Okay, so and other difference is stored. So basically, local variable is stored in stack memory, and global variable is stored in data segments. And lifetime of, we also discussed about the lifetime of local variable. So lifetime ends with the function. Lifetime end when the program terminates. So guys, these were the important difference. Okay, so now we will see interview questions. What interview questions can be asked related to the local and global variables? So basically, basic questions are asked. Okay, so first questions may ask like, what is where is local variable is stored? So you can say local variable is stored in stack memory. And other question they may ask, interviewer can ask, where is global variable is stored? So global variable is stored in data segment. So guys, we discussed about important things in today's class. Okay, so what we discussed, so we will recap all the things now. Okay, so what is the difference between a local and global variable? We understood, and we understood one program, one program related to local and global variable. We also see the difference between local and global variable. Okay, so and in the last we discussed about the interview questions. So guys, here I would like to end this video now. So if you have any doubt related to the memory management, so you can check, you can watch a video related to the memory management. I have already uploaded on my channel. Okay, so if you really like this video, so do like and subscribe the channel and share with your colleague and friends so that they could also understand related they could understand the important concepts related to the C programming. Okay.